Jeffrey Allman, yoga teacher, mindfulness coach. Today I'm doing something new. I'm reviewing a book. Self, Sir, by River Coello. Before I talk about the book, though, I want to talk about energy. What brought me to River's art, their poetry, their spirit, them as a warrior. My first intersection with River was probably, I don't know, maybe not a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. I was at Barnes & Noble, and I was just looking through poetry books. And I was Googling, I was looking online for queer poets, because as a yoga teacher, I often like to do readings before a class, or during a class, or at the end of a class. And I came across River Coello and this book, but they didn't have it. And I even went and asked, because I read about River's, just about River in general online, like, oh, wow. Not realizing that River was in Chicago, not realizing anything about River, not having any intersection with River online, but just that little seed was planted. And they did not have River's book at Barnes & Noble, needless to say. So, but I do remember seeing, when I Googled and I was looking for queer poetry, that I saw this cover online somewhere. Okay, fast forward to this pandemic, and fast forward to this time of clarity on injustice, on racism, on white supremacy, and how we as a community, as humanity, many of us are finally waking up to and talking about this 400 years plus of injustice, genocide, slavery, blood, sweat, tears, white supremacy. And I, like so many, was like, yes, finally. And immediately took my entire energy, my resources, my entire platform, my microphone, and started to take and devote that to Black Lives Matter and to the Black, Indigenous, people of color, charities and organizations. And in the process of doing that, I donated some money to Brave Space Alliance, I think like maybe two or three times over the course, along with other charities and organizations. But in doing that, there was something shared by one of River and I's mutual connections that showed that River and their family were doing matching funds. And then just to, once you've donated money, just send them a copy and okay. So I'm like, well, that's great. That's even more money. And then it turned into like, it was like a triple match or something. And so I do that, again, not knowing really anything about River. And I send them a copy of my donation. And then River messages me back on Instagram and thanks me and let me know that they would like to send me a copy of their book. Now, it gets even more deep at this point, because I said to River, then kind of River being more on my radar, hey, River, I need to talk to you about your name. I think it's wonderful. Have you read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse? Have you noticed the name of my yoga studio, Ferryman Yoga? What that's based on is the ferryman and the river in Siddhartha, and how art project of a bunch of paintings of rivers, and this idea that there's no beginning and there's no end, and that the river is this continuum of energy and possibility, that all the voices of our past, our future, our ancestors, our nowness are all right there. And that my vibe is the river, and that we should all want to be the ferryman and all want to be the river. And so anyways, I sent him this whole kind of thing, and we just connected well. And then I, after this conversation, go and look up River's book and realize it was the book I was trying to purchase, that I could not get my hands on many months ago. Not realizing River was a Chicago artist. I knew they were a queer artist because I was looking specifically for queer poets, but not knowing River's journey and voice, spirit, and intentions. So anyways, the book came today, and I thank you, River, and I read the entire book. And just to give you a little, first of all, it feels glorious. I know that sounds crazy, but it just feels wonderful in my hands. Good job, designers and River. River, I also was lucky enough, before I actually got the book, attended one of River's virtual readings, which just, thank you for being you and sharing your humanity so selflessly, River. The book, River has broken down into 4 sections, and the book is in English and Spanish. For my matriarchs, for my loves, for me, for you. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I've taken from the book 2 of River's selections, and I opened with this singing bowl because I do sound baths and sound healing, and I'm just going to play this right now and encourage you to maybe come into your breath. Really use your diaphragm to make room for your lungs to grow and to expand. Notice the feel of your breath on your nose, on your nostrils, on your mucous membrane, on your lips. Maybe close your eyes and notice the color on the back of your eyelids, the life, the miracle, the sacred human that you are. And really let this sink in. This particular singing bowl is tuned for the heart chakra. Really open up and try to be vulnerable and receptive. I think this might be just perfect for River's poetry. I'm going to read 2 poems from River's book. And I think when I'm done, you'll probably not only want this book, but his next book that's coming out soon. The first selection that really, first of all, every single thing that River wrote, the vibe, the energy, beautiful. But the first one, I'm like, I have to read this. Polyamory. For the ones who got away. Is there anything more exquisite than the prolonged pleasure of watching the end from afar? Everything ends. My green-eyed Gemini, elegantly elusive, your openness, your danger taught me joy. My careful Capricorn, perpetually kind, your curiosity, your sweetness taught me nuance. My insufferable Scorpio, quintessentially mischievous. Your serenades, your stardust showed me ecstasy. My eager Aries, handsomely shy. Your passion, your newness showed me fantasy. My youthful Pisces, wisely adventurous. Your steadiness, your dreaminess taught me greatness. Polyamory for the ones who got away. through my lens of mindfulness, I just love the idea that all of our relationships can ebb and flow, intensity can come and go. And in our cultures, all too often we look at the ones who got away through a negative lens. Sometimes we add, in yoga they call it samskara, this trauma of that intensity dropping and that relationship leaving. We sometimes attach negativity to it. And what I love about River's poetry is they are looking at nothing but the positive. The journey, the shared energy between them and those behind them on the relationship journey. That, by the way, could, you never know, could come back, maybe not as a life partner, but as a friend, or who knows when that loop is going to close again. And so I love the open-mindedness, but also the honor for the energy that was exchanged, the passion and the love of the shared humanity that did happen. And so in this one poem, which I will come back to, thank God I have this book, that's the beauty, I need to get more poetry books in my life, is when we do move on from a relationship, can we all potentially try to be as evolved as River is here and see all of that positive, the openness, the curiosity, the stardust, the ecstasy, the fantasy, the greatness that River saw in all of those who got away. So that's the first reading. The second one is agape. Thank you for this, River. Agape. Years ago, I promised to become my favorite artwork, my own muse. I wanted to write myself poems about the exquisite beauty of my body and my essence. I did not know where to begin, having grown used to ignoring each piece of me. Oh, body of mine, I said, forgive me. Pardon my absence, the disenchantment. Using myself as my own blank canvas, Gemini was the most natural result. My most authentic lived in my softest, which quickly became my strongest. Today, I am promising to become my dearest lover. I want to love myself fiercely. I, too, deserve my dearest lover. I, too, deserve the magic of my love. I am love. I am fiercely protective, sometimes sacrificial, always all-consuming, always elevating. I'm going to read those last three parts of River's poetry again because, actually, I'm just going to read the whole poem again because it's that powerful. And maybe before I read it again, what I gather from River's entire collection of poetry and song, of vulnerability and humanity, is this free and open exchange of energy, this honoring of shared humanity. So I'll read Agape again. Years ago, I promised to become my favorite artwork, my own muse. I wanted to write myself poems about the exquisite beauty of my body and my essence. I did not know where to begin, having grown used to ignoring each piece of me. Oh, body of mine, I said, forgive me, pardon my absence, the disenchantment. Using myself as my own blank canvas, Gemini was the most natural result. My most authentic lived in my softest, which quickly became my strongest. Today, I am promising to become my dearest lover. I want to love myself fiercely. I too deserve the magic of my love. I am love. I am fiercely protective, sometimes sacrificial, always all-consuming, always elevating. To be able to exchange, this is, again, why I love this poem so much, to be able to exchange so much energy so freely in such a healthy way in this world of shared humanity, this social community we all live in. You have to seed, tend, and take care of your own garden of love and energy and possibility. And so I just love this poetry River has given us. What a gift. Saying, love yourself completely. All consuming, always elevating. Love it, River. So I could not endorse a book any more heavily. It's the first book review that I've done here, by the way. And I mean, I've done like IG lives where I talk about books or where I'm at and kind of discussion groups and stuff like that. But I haven't done just a book review, and this YouTube channel is new, so I'm going to do more because you guys know I consume a lot of books. But I just thought, I'm going to do this right now. The spirit called me, the energy, the magic, the miracle said, let's talk about this light worker, this spiritual warrior, this wonderful human being. Self-Sir, River Coello. Thank you, River. And thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully you find and consume more of River's wonderful words. Stay curious. Be wonderful.